Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
I'm Carol Massar, along with Tim Stanovic. Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Isabel Lee is in the house. Let's start with AES.
Definitely. The power firm is exploring options, including a potential sale, sources told Bloomberg, and the stock is jumping. The ticker is AES, and you see shares soaring almost 20%. That's the highest since November 2008, if my SINS function is correct. So AES provides renewable power to tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. So investors, including Brookfield and BlackRock, have been studying AES ever since the company shares really lost half of their value in the past 2 years. And of course, that's as President Donald Trump has put in place anti-renewable policies. So get this, AES has an enterprise value of around $40 billion. So even a leveraged buyout would still rank it among the biggest of all time.
It would be massive.
It's a massive company, actually. Maybe just not as known in consumer-facing world, but really, I think it's an $8 billion market cap or even more right now.
Almost $9.4 billion.
Look at that.
Especially with the bump up today.
Yeah.
So they've got a fleet of renewable power assets, including wind and solar, as well as 2 utilities in India and Ohio. We did hear yesterday during the cabinet meeting, the Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright, and the president essentially speaking to each other about the need for more oil and gas in the U.S., fewer renewables.
I just think it's fascinating, right? Utilities, energy, like that has become such a go-to trade, I feel like, or increasingly because of all of the power demands, whether it's from the hyperscalers and AI, but it's just an interesting trade. Hopefully people working at those power and utility companies are drinking a lot of coffee. Those are important things to keep running.
Are they drinking it at Starbucks?
That was a terrible transition. I'm so sorry.
I love it. You do need coffee because we have a lot of power needed, to your point, from AI and crypto. But we have Starbucks, SBUX. Shares are kind of flat right now, but Starbucks has received proposals from potential investors in its China business. So that's according to people familiar with the matter, and most of whom are eyeing a controlling stake. So China is the second largest market of Starbucks, and Bloomberg reported in May that the company had kicked off a review process. So obviously now they're sifting through those reviews and really shortlisting prospects. So this isn't Starbucks' preferred option. They obviously preferred to sell a minority stake to help them grow their China business. And we have TD Cowen estimating that Starbucks China operations could be valued at a range of $2.6 billion to $4.7 billion if the coffee chain is sold. So really, Starbucks has grappled with the sluggish sales in China because there have been many rivals and just, a lackluster consumer demand. And they've been catering to the taste of the local market. They've been slashing tea prices. And
don't they drink a lot of tea?
Yes, tea. And they've been offering sugar-free options, zero sugar.
Yeah.
So there's that. But really, it's been a struggle for them.
Initially in the trade today, there was excitement about this.
Yes.
Shares were up as high as 3.1%, but they've given back some of those gains.
I guess uncertainty, or maybe the $2.6 billion to $4.7 billion isn't what they were expecting. We have CNBC reporting that it could be as much as $10 billion. So the disparity is quite huge.
I also think it would get rid of something that's been quite an overhang on this company, because I feel like every time Starbucks reports, we're like, let's take a look at the Chinese sales, right?
Think about what we were talking about a decade ago. It wasn't an overhang. It was the business and the growth engine.
Exactly.
It was like, how is China doing?
Yeah.
The stats about how many stores they were opening up each day.
Yeah.
It was wild.
So what a term.
Yeah.
I do love Starbucks because it tastes the same all over the world. So if I drink it in Asia, it's the same as opposed to here.
I like local coffee joints.
Okay, Starbucks has a market cap of about $108 billion. Kind of pales in comparison to the next stock we're talking about.
Exactly. I think this is a stock of the day, Nvidia. Shares are up just around 2%. The ticker is NVDA. So it's the first company in history to achieve a $4 trillion market cap, really cementing a status as the kingpin in the AI space, in the tech space, and just in the global financial market. So earlier it jumped as much as 3%, and that's what brought it to that milestone. It's just a stunning rebound. Remember DeepSeek? I guess no one thinks of that anymore. Really, the stock has risen more than 20% this year and up more than 1,000% since the beginning of 2023.
Wow. This was a $4.91 a share stock back in March of 2020. I'm just saying.
2023 shares were up 239%. In 2024, shares were up 171%.
I wonder how you're feeling if you're Jensen Huang. And we have Bloomberg story saying that he is meeting top Chinese leaders as he attends an expo in Beijing. So we can connect it back to Starbucks in China.
Well done, well done. Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Isabel Lee.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.